Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Community Chats. We are thrilled to have you join us today for another episode of our Community Chat series, where we seek to elevate voices of leaders in the Lafayette Oxford community. My name is Erin Oath. I am a project manager for community engagement here at the university, and I'm joined by my colleague Jody Holland. Anthony Siracusa is away today. So thank you so much for being a part of these regular conversations with individuals and leaders in our community who are working hard to make a difference. We come to you live on Facebook Wednesdays and Fridays from 12 noon to about 12:30. Our goal is to elevate community leaders and hear their stories, find out who they are, learn more about their work, what they do, and how you can be involved in their vision for the future. You can catch up on prior episodes on our new YouTube channel at Engaged UM. And if you'd like to be interviewed on the show or know someone that you would like to have us interview, please let us know. You can drop a note in our comments section, or you can email us at engaged@olemiss.edu. Community Chats is an initiative of the Office of Community Engagement at the University of Mississippi in close partnership with our friends at LOFT, the Lafayette Oxford Foundation for Tomorrow. You can learn more about LOFT in our first episode of the series. So enough of the spill. Y'all know that by now. Today, we have the honor and privilege of being joined by Zach Scruggs from Second Chance, Mississippi. Welcome to the show, Zach.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Well, it is an honor for us to have you here. Let's jump right into it. Just tell us a little bit about who you are, how you ended up here in the Oxford Lafayette community.
Yes, well, I grew up in Pascagoula, Mississippi, which is on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, and started school here in undergrad in 1992, and then law school after that. And basically with a little bit of interruptions for work or business opportunities, have been here since 1992, off and on. So no matter what employment or business opportunity I've had, I've always kind of been drawn back to Oxford and plan on being here for the foreseeable future.
Well, you guys have contributed significantly to our community, and we appreciate it. And as we talk today about the Second Chance, tell us a little bit about how you moved in this position, how it was developed, the origin of it, please.
Sure. Before I came on, Second Chance was really just an idea kind of founded based on the experiences of my father, Dick Scruggs, when he taught GED in federal prison. And when he got out, he discovered that the community colleges and other organizations in the state were doing that kind of work and doing a great job. Problem was, the adult students were typically lower income and were having trouble attending class and graduating because of financial constraints. So he called me. I was actually in Orlando working in renewable energy, and said, "Hey, I need you to come start this organization as a nonprofit and run it." I said, "Okay, let me think about that." But the draw of coming back to Oxford and to do something that meaningfully helped the state was too good to pass up. So we started Second Chance in 2016, got its nonprofit status, and I started as the first executive director, and we've been blowing and going ever since. Our mission at Second Chance is to raise awareness and funds and develop programs for adult education and workforce training. Mississippi ranks last in the country in the number of adults with a high school diploma. About 18 to 20% of our adults do not have a high school diploma. Mississippi ranks second to last in workforce participation rate, which is the number of adults actually working. Only half of the adults in Mississippi actually are working presently. So our mission is to kind of remove the barriers and to alleviate or improve that situation. And the good thing about Mississippi is we're at the bottom of those categories. We're at the top of two other categories. We have the best community college system in the United States, and we are consistently ranked the most charitable state in the United States. So our mission at Second Chance essentially is to remove barriers that are keeping adults from getting the education and training they need. And those barriers could be, Jody, anything from transportation for gas money, tuition for a workforce program. It could be food, it could be childcare, whatever the barrier is that could be removed. Our mission is to remove it. so we can move the dial in Mississippi and get more adults workforce ready.
Awesome.
Oh, fantastic. Well, I'm excited to learn more about the work that you do. And I think you just did a really great job of capturing the mission of the organization and your focus on removing barriers. So you tell us a little bit about how you go about that. Is that providing a lot of individual assistance? Is it supporting other nonprofit agencies in our community? Or how do you identify clients or individuals that you work with? And what does that work look like?
Great question, Aaron. A little bit of both. So we primarily work with and collaborate with organizations that are already doing this. We don't actually provide the instruction, the high school equivalency instruction or the workforce instruction. We collaborate with organizations that do. Most of the time it'd be a community college. They're the ones that have the state mandate, the legislative mandate to provide education for adults that are going back to get their high school equivalency or need workforce training. But they're not the only ones. They're the primary ones. And there are lots of other nonprofit organizations that do this kind of work. And what we do is we provide financial support to those organizations to help their students. So they identify that the students are already there, they're in their orbit, they're in their universe, whether it's a community college or another organization. And we're providing the support to these organizations to give to these students so they can get their high school equivalency or get the workforce certification that they need. To build on that point locally, you have a couple different organizations. You have Northwest Community College, which would be an ideal place if you needed a GED, also known as a high school equivalency, or you need a workforce training. But we also have the Lafayette County Literacy Center here in Oxford, which is a great organization where you can also go to get a high school equivalency or workforce training. And we support that organization so they can have the funds to remove the barriers for the students that I discussed. And another organization that works with the Lafayette County Literacy Council is Burns United Methodist Church. I think it might be First Methodist now, but Burns. And Burns, through Barbara Wortham, works with the Lafayette County Literacy Council to do this kind of work. So we've done everything from provide money for transportation, for testing fees, for incentives for adults to get their high school equivalency or workforce training. We also bought about 12 computers for Burns to use for lower income students so they could go and practice, because most of the tests now are computer based. And that changed about 4 or 5 years ago. So a lot of organizations were stuck with that, without the means to help their students. So those are the various kind of things we do. We have programs with probably 12 of the 15 community colleges in the state where we work with whoever's ahead of the adult education or workforce training at that particular institution, to where they identify and recruit the students that are in genuine need. And then we provide the support to the community college or other organization to alleviate that need.
Zach, it sounds like y'all just taking on a huge initiative here. And I know that you're not doing this alone.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your staff. Who do you work with and what they do for you?
Excellent question, Jody. We could not do it without our staff and without the support of the various community colleges and organizations who are really doing all the hard work. They're the ones identifying the students. They're the ones that are providing the instruction and dispersing the funds that we provide. But as far as Second Chance Mississippi, there's basically 4 people. There's Dick Scruggs, who's the founder. There's myself as executive director. And then there's 2 others. Caddy Beals is our development director. She spearheads and kind of monitors our program statewide and is in charge of fundraising. We also have Sarah Rose Lominick, who is our program coordinator. And she coordinates a specific program we have with PreK Collaboratives. And she also, which I will discuss, and she also handles local fundraising and manages some of the programs. So no, we couldn't do all this without both our incredible staff, but also without the cooperation of the community colleges or the organizations that are actually doing the work. We see ourselves as not just a cheerleader, but kind of we develop the programs and we fund the programs that help them help more people.
That's fantastic. Great.
Yeah. So I want to know more about the PreK Collaborative and some of the other specific programs that you put out.
Great question, Aaron, and that's important because there's one here locally as well. So our mission is primarily adult education and workforce training, not pre-K instruction for the children. It's also education, but the Mississippi passed an act about 5 years ago that allowed people to make charitable donations to a pre-K 4-year-old collaborative that would have a tax credit status to it. And the act also allows for some of that money, donated money, to be used to help the parents or caregivers of these children if it helps the child. So we've developed programs with several of these pre-K collaboratives throughout the state. There are about 19 of them to make sure that they have the funds and support necessary to help the parent and caregiver of a child. So in essence, the parent and the child are learning simultaneously, and it provides reciprocal benefit to the children. The Oxford Lafayette University community got a collaborative about a year ago. It's run by Tamara Hilmer, and it's a great organization. And that we work with them locally to provide funds and develop programs that help some of the adults that have kids or taking care of kids that are in the collaborative get education training they need, whether it's from the Lafayette County Literacy Council or whether it's from Northwest Community College. It's kind of in a way, even though we're in adult education workforce training, the pre-K organizations have parents and caregivers that need that kind of help, and it provides immeasurable benefit to the children. So I would say check out the Lafayette County, the Oxford Lafayette University Pre-K Collaborative. They're doing great things, and hopefully this will be a model for universal 4-year-old pre-K state support for education. But right now there's only 19 of them, but luckily one of them's here locally.
Zach, yeah, you talked a lot about the programs and the staff. What are some of the greatest challenges that you guys are experiencing, either like now in this time of COVID crisis and pandemic, or just in the normalcy of our life? What's some of your challenges?
Right. Well, specifically generally notwithstanding COVID, I think the challenge statewide is competition and apathy. There are a lot of worthy nonprofits doing a lot of good work, and so but there's only so much charitable dollar to go around, particularly in Mississippi, even as charitable as we are. So that is a challenge for us and probably any organization locally and statewide. More specifically, locally, challenges. Oxford, we're blessed to have such a great community here that I think a lot of people don't realize that there's still a major need for adult education workforce training. Locally, certainly statewide, a lot more, but we're blessed to be in the Oxford Lafayette University community to somewhat kind of be in an oasis, or I don't want to say a bubble, where a lot of the problems that the state encounters we don't see or think are present here, but they are. There are still hundreds of adults in Oxford and Lafayette County area that need this kind of training. So that's kind of a challenge to educate the community that this is a need, not just statewide, but locally. The corona virus has been a challenge for us twofold. A lot of the adults in the programs that we support have been sidelined because a lot of this instruction is face-to-face and it's a lot of hand-holding. The students that we're helping don't have as readily access to computers or Zoom or digital learning, long distance learning as we have, or as even our kids and the schools do. So there's a lot more handholding and in-person instruction necessary in these programs. So because of COVID and the schools having to shut down and revise their teaching methods, that's been somewhat of a challenge. and so as everything opens back up or whatnot, we hope to be back going full speed. But our programs are all there, but we just don't have the bodies right now because of those restrictions. One thing we've done, this is actually down in Pascagoula, is we bought computers for an entity down there, the Pascagoula Adult Learning Center, to give or loan, I should say, to the adult students so they would have computer access. So that's something we're looking at is, wherever there's a challenge, there's an opportunity. And so we're kind of trying to fill the gaps in this time to where they're needed during the coronavirus.
Thank you, Sharon.
I know that internet access is a big issue, and particularly in this season. So
very big issue, and both for kids and certainly adults, having the bandwidth and the internet access, because a lot of these adults now are having to rely on computers to get some of the training they need. And not only do they not maybe have access to a computer, but even if they did, they don't have internet access. So that's a challenge we have statewide.
Yeah, for sure. So what keeps you going in this work? What motivates you? What are some of the rewards that you get out of it that keep you going when times are tough?
I love helping people, and I love seeing success stories. And we broadcast our success stories. It gives me the motivation to keep going. It's the reason to wake up every morning, to know that we're changing lives. We're doing all small part to change lives. Where there's an adult who didn't have high school equivalency, didn't have a workforce training, didn't have a steady non-minimum wage job, to be able to play a part in taking that adult from the wilderness there to where now they have a high school equivalency. They now have a workforce certification. They now have a job. They now have the confidence and the self-confidence that they can do it. And to see the smiles on the faces of adults, that when I go to a high school graduation for adults, it's more memorable and more pomp and circumstance than even a regular high school graduation when you go to these things. But the success stories of people that just need a little bit of help and just a little bit of self-confidence to get to the next step is what really keeps me going. And we've so far, Aaron, I think we have about 280 high school equivalencies that our program has helped produce, and another 275 workforce certifications.
Wow.
And we helped almost 1,000 people or been in our programs in some way, shape, or form. So it's those kind of numbers and results with not a lot of money. It doesn't take a lot of money to get these results. And I think what we're doing could be a kind of a template for what we should be doing more statewide. But seeing an adult that didn't think they could get their high school equivalency or workforce training, and to get it and to see what they can really accomplish is something else.
Well, Zach, we're in this time where, nonprofits are getting hit pretty hard with revenue losses and losing fundraisers. And, as a director of Loft, I'm going to be champion every nonprofit saying, look, guys, they're doing God's work. They're doing service work. Let's give them money. But how can people in the community contribute to your organization, buy money, or on top of that, what other things do you need?
Great question, Jay. So we, like any nonprofit, need funds to continue. And it's always a challenge, and particularly with the coronavirus and those kind of limitations and competition with other nonprofits. There's several ways one can donate to Second Chance. We certainly have a Facebook and online presence. We have a website, Facebook, Instagram, and all have links to where you can donate through credit card, debit card, what have you. We also do an annual fundraiser here in Oxford. We call it the Fall Gala. And we've done 2 already, and we're going to be doing the 3rd this fall, whether it's virtually or in person, still debating, but we have to make a decision soon. But that is a huge revenue source for us is the Fall Gala, because we're statewide, but Oxford is statewide. Oxford is blessed with, and because of Ole Miss, of having people that have roots and have come from all over the state. So it's a lot easier in Oxford to raise money for a statewide cause than it would be in various other towns where they're more local centric. So it's even though Oxford and Lafayette County area has this need, as I discussed, it's we have people from all over the state and that have moved to Oxford or they're in Oxford. So that's why we do the fall gala in Oxford, and we've gotten a great response, and we hope to be able to do it in person if it's possible and feasible to do it in person. But if not, we'll be trying out a virtual fundraiser and see how that goes. The one thing I would like to add, Jody, it's important for people in the community to know, is every dollar that's contributed to Second Chance goes directly to our programs and our students. No money goes to overhead. We don't have much overhead, but I don't take a salary, and we have 2 employees that take salaries. But our overhead is covered through a separate family donation. So it's important for us for our donors to know that every cent that they contribute goes directly to the mission and the result, nothing for overhead or anything like that. So that's the 2 important things I'd like people in the community to know, that we have a local fundraiser. We'd love for you to go buy tickets, contribute online. We have a raffle and silent auction for it, but also that your money's going directly to change lives.
That's awesome.
Fantastic. Well, it's time for your 1-minute moment. So one final message. You have 1 minute to say anything else that you want to share with the residents of Lafayette Oxford.
Well, we're blessed to live in an area of the state that is highly educated, progressive, and all the good ways. And we're blessed with a lot of things in this community, but there's still people, not just in the community, but statewide, that need help. Again, Mississippi, the biggest thing holding Mississippi back is our lack of an educated and trained workforce. And that exists locally, and it certainly exists statewide. So I would ask everyone in the community to keep that in mind when they're spending or contributing their philanthropic dollar or putting focus or effort in something, that a lot of the problems Mississippi has relate to our lack of an educated trained workforce. But we can solve that issue, and not just Second Chance, but your community college and several organizations are all working hard for that. So keep that in mind when we think about all the things we can do to help the state.
Thank you so much, Zach. It has been a pleasure to meet you virtually and to learn more about your work at Second Chance Mississippi. It's just been wonderful to talk to you today. So thank you so much.
Honored to be able to participate in this, and I appreciate what y'all do, and I look forward to working collaboratively with y'all in the future. Y'all are great.
Oh, fantastic. Well, and thank you to all of you for tuning in. Next week, we have a special treat for you on Wednesday, as we will be hosting our very first student leader on Community Chats, Joshua Mannery, president of the Associated Student Body at University of Mississippi, and one of the leaders in our Stronger Together initiative. So he's going to be talking about that work there. So be sure to tune in next Wednesday. In the meantime, please like, comment, share, let us know your thoughts and feedback. Check out Zach's work at Second Chance Mississippi. Stay engaged, stay safe, and we'll see you next time on Community Chats. Thank you.